Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you guys are having a good day. As you can tell, we'll be looking at something a little bit different today. We're going to go a little bit old school, and the vehicles that we'll be looking at are a brand that I found recently, not the ones that you see in front of you. We'll move those. But today we are going to be looking at some vehicles from a company called Summer Diecast. Summer. And they made a lot of vehicles a long time ago, but what caught my eye were these really old-timey vehicles. I don't have any of these in my collection. I'm sure a lot of you don't either. It may not be your thing, but I wanted to give it a shot. We'll look at them today, and if we don't ever look at them again, that would be fine with me, but I want you guys to know that they're out there, and I just want to show off brands as I come across them. So this will be Summer Diecast. Summer is a company that was based in Hong Kong, like a lot of them. It's not got a really good reputation in the diecast industry or community. It was called even a cheap Chinese brand on one of the websites I looked at. The company itself is pretty big. It made metal products and like appliances as well as diecast cars. So one thing to note about Summer, they are one of the few brands that makes a 1/64 scale Tucker automobile. They're somehow related to Yet Ming, founded back in 1979. They do mainly 1/36 scale, but these will all be pretty close to 1/64. Some of them are a little bit bigger. Some of them seem a little smaller. Other companies have used their castings in the past. Mars Cars is one, for example, that I believe is what this is right here. Used it for their classic fast wheels. They're also used in a lot of PR campaigns. So let's look at them. First one we'll look at today. This is a Peugeot. And I like that while I researched these cars, I learned a lot of automobile history that I didn't realize I knew. Some very famous names. Peugeot has been around since 1896. This is what's called I don't even know if it has a name, honestly. This is a 1907, and all of these Summer diecasts have the name and the year on the base. It's a plastic base, it's a metal body, it is a removable top. It's got a lot of neat detail, a lot of color, a lot of chrome, a lot of shiny stuff. This little number right here would come with a 3 horsepower engine. It won the very first motor race, Paris to Rouen, I believe is how you say it, averaging 13 miles an hour. So initially Peugeot used engines from another maker, but they finally started making their own, and their very first one was 8 horsepower. So that is a little bit about this Peugeot. It's a 1907, and the only other company I could find that had one like that, Matchbox did a 1907 Peugeot. It's in their models of yesteryear. Moving on. This is called a Simplex, Simplex. There's a lot of companies that used Simplex in their name. I wasn't able to determine which one this is. This, if you look at the base, is a 1912, and it just says Simplex. So the very first group of Simplex cars that I saw in my research was from Mercedes, but they only made them from 1902 to 1909. So this might be one of the 2 American companies that made Simplex vehicles. There was a company called American Simplex and Crane Simplex. Had 40 to 60 horsepower. Pretty cool little car. Up next, this is called a Prince Henry. This was made by a company that a lot of you guys in the UK and in Europe will know, Vauxhall. This company has been around since 1857, actually, 4 years before the American Civil War even started. And this one is simply called, I believe, a Code A. It is a 1914 Prince Henry by Vauxhall. I was telling a buddy about this upcoming video, and he didn't sound too excited. They all look the same, and I had to agree with that. But we're here. We'll learn a little bit, and then we'll move on to some cooler cars next time. Speaking of cool cars, and speaking of England, this is a Rolls-Royce. This was the Silver Ghost. So I didn't know the Silver Ghost is not a name used with a bunch of different models. This was specific to this car. It's also known as a 4050. I don't know what that means. It's a 1906 model. It was made in their the Manchester plant there, and it led a magazine called Autocar to call Rolls-Royce the best car in the world in 1907, a title which you could say they still defend today. Really a elegant looking vehicle. Remember, it's all die-cast except for the base. The tops do come off, and most of these are 4-seaters. This one has a right-hand drive, which is cool. Moving on, fifth one. Everyone knows this car. This is a Ford Model T. This is a 1910, also known as a Tin Lizzie. It is regarded as the first affordable automobile for the general public. And that was because Henry Ford, as most of you know, built these on an assembly line instead of being handmade the way all other cars were at the time. In 1999, the Model T was voted as the most influential car of the century. So this is a Ford Model T. One thing I remember from my education as a child was that Henry Ford, despite what this car looks like, said that you could have the Model T in any color you wanted as long as it was black. He was all about efficiency. Last but not least, Fiat. Didn't know Fiat had been around as long as it has. This is a 1901 Modello 8 CV. I don't know what any of that means. So the company was founded in 1899, and up until the 80s, Fiat was number 3 all time in the world in automobile sales. It really fell off in the 80s. This thing got all the way up to 48 miles an hour. So this is a 1901. All of these cars are, looks like 1901 to 1914. Again, it may not be your thing, but they deserve a place in our automobile history, and I enjoy bringing them to you. If you have any super special interest in this collection, the lot that I got from eBay came with 2 of each. If you would like this set, it's not the easiest to find, and you don't see them that often. If this is your thing, let me know. Drop me a comment. Maybe we can work something out. If you really want these in your collection, then I would like to put them in your collection. So that's all I got for you today. Next video, we'll be looking at some customs that I've done lately, as well as some odds and cars that I've picked up here and there. But thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging around with this one. This was summer diecast, and you can see this one actually is a little bit bigger than the others. This must be the 1/36 scale that they normally came in. But I hope you enjoyed just a little bit of history today, and we'll get back to some modern cars on the next one. Talk to you later. Have a good day.